Reboots have been absolute booty cheeks recently, and even the classic early 2000s show Clone High can't escape this plague. It's been non-stop diarrhea of poor choices. I was already hesitant with this show coming back after 20 years because the trailer didn't have the same type of humor as the original, and it felt like it was trying way too hard by being overly violent for absolutely no reason. I watched all 10 episodes, and my hypothesis was correct. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's still very, very mediocre. By the way, there's gonna be a bunch of fucking spoilers for the show, so if you don't want to hear that, then I would leave. But I promise you, you're not missing much. A quick little background, Clone High was a show on MTV about clones of historical figures who went to high school together. The show's comedy revolves around lowbrow humor, along with a goofy premise, and parodied a lot of teen dramas during the time. The jokes are still timeless for the most part, like The Simpsons during the 90s. However, unlike the reboot, which feels like a pandering mess that'll be dated in a few years, we go from simple yet well thought out jokes to, haha, look at all that blood, violence is funny. Not only is the comedy extremely different, but so are the characters. In the first season of Clone High, the characters develop each episode and have their set personalities. Plot points and character traits carry over to the next episode. In the reboot though, the old characters act nothing like their old counterparts and are all over the place. Everyone hated Abe in the first season because he aimed for a girl that didn't like him and rejected a big titty goth girl that wanted him. Essentially, he didn't appreciate what he already had. Even so, Abe had redeemable qualities about him. Abe in the second season is fine. There are some points he behaves out of character, like the time he acted like a big shot and started bragging about getting the lead role in a musical. Other than that, he's one of the few characters from the old show that's tolerable. The second season reverses the roles, and now he's the underdog trying to get the girl that he wants. So really, the only reason I still like Abe is because everyone else around him sucks. Let's talk about the next least worst rebooted character. Many of the voice actors changed, which is understandable. The reboot came 20 years after the original. But goddamn, did JFK's new voice actor annoy me. It's not only that, but the lines given to JFK aren't all that hilarious either. In the first season, JFK was the funniest to me. Normally, I don't like it when a joke gets explained as part of a comedic routine, but it fits JFK's personality of being the dumb jock, and again, the old voice actor had a fantastic line delivery. JFK was the guy who stood in Abe's way of getting the girl he wants, and that's the role he plays in the reboot, but with a different girl. At the very least, JFK has a purpose in the second season and was integral to the story. He's not funny anymore, but at least he has a purpose. Unlike this next character we'll be looking over, who not only lost her very vital role in the original, but also lost her personality completely. Cleo went from someone who pretended to be ditzy in order to manipulate men to do her bidding, into someone who's just ditzy. Essentially, the writers forgot that other part of her character that made her interesting. Cleo pretty much controlled everyone in the original show and was definitely integral to the plot. If you remove her from the reboot, nothing would change. So first she starts out doing nothing, has one episode where she becomes evil, while acting nothing like herself in the first season, and then out of nowhere she has feelings for a female friend. Riveting. The fact that a subplot from Clone High reminds me of a subplot from Velma, it kind of hurts my soul a bit. And just like everyone else, she loses all of the funny she had in the original. But let's talk about the worst downgrade in not just Clone High, but in all of media. I fucking hate Reboot Joan. They not only 180'd her personality, but they made her a new personality that's just completely unbearable. The original Joan was an underdog of the first season, trying to get with Abe while he went for the popular girl. She was like Jane Lane and Daria, didn't care about being popular, considered to be an outcast, very sarcastic. Sometimes she would serve as the voice of reason of the show. So there's a lot going on for her. She definitely had a diverse personality. And then the reboot decided to throw all that away and make her care about being popular, which completely negates her core personality trait in the original. Reboot Joan is also horrible to her friends. While Abe's treatment of his friends in the original came from a place of just being oblivious, Joan comes off as malicious and bitchy. I know the reboot wants to show that the world has changed and people like Joan, who were considered outcasts in 2003, would now be popular in 2023. Here's the problem. The new characters are also very superficial, just like the girls in the early 2000s, so now Joan acts like the same people she used to make fun of.
But Diesel, did you ever think about how that could be the joke?
Oh, haha, yeah, so funny. I'm busting a gut from laughing so hard. Tee-hee. Hilarious. The final episode of Season 2 paints Joan as the one everyone hates now, and rightfully so. She sucks. She sucks big fucking hairy nutsack. This is a Luke Skywalker level downgrade. A complete reaping and pillaging of a good character. I will say this, Mr. B and Scudworth have kept that same quality and charm they had in the original, probably because Scudworth is one of the few characters that didn't change voice actors. So at least the execution of the jokes remained just as funny, and yeah, he did get a good couple of funny lines as well. Mr. B of all characters actually got a backstory. Didn't expect that, but it was definitely welcome. His episode actually felt like an episode I would see in the original show. His backstory actually parodies a lot of cliched movie tropes. Each segment of his backstory is animated differently, making it unique. And would you look at that, the comedy is actually good. It only took like 9 fucking episodes, but here we are. Besides the complete buttfuck Season 2 did to the original characters, the worst thing to come from the reboot is undoubtedly the new cast of characters. So we have Confucius, Frida, Columbus, and Harriet Tubman. Columbus looks fine, he looks exactly like the original, and while I'm not a big fan of Frida's design or the design of Confucius, at least I can tell which historical figure they are cloned to be. Harriet could be anyone. Not only is her design way too over the top and filled with way too many bright colors, there are 0 defining traits that make her look like Harriet Tubman. You could easily say she's also Rosa Parks or Ruth Temple. In fact, you could make Harriet Tubman actually Ruth Temple and have her want to go into nursing school. Way less superficial than Harriet's dream, which we'll get to in a second. But let's start with my favorite of the group, Columbus, aka Topher. Topher is definitely the best new addition to the show, but at the same time, he's wasted potential. Topher was kind of built up to be Abe's new best friend, replacing Gandhi, and needless to say, he doesn't fit the role. He could have, but the show barely utilizes him. He even became an antagonist for the last 2 episodes, and, well, it amounted to nothing. Confucius is just kind of there. He's addicted to social media, and that's his character. That's it. Frida looks like a rat. Probably smells like 8-month-old pepper jack cheese. Her key personality trait is that she's just like a very calm person, very chill. I like the voice actress for Frida. I think it fits very well. Too bad the character's not very interesting. And then there's Harriet, who's a really shitty friend, but unlike Abe from the original, she has 0 redeemable or likable qualities about her. Oh wait, my mistake. I forgot about her incredibly fascinating ambition to make a shallow reality TV diarrhea fest and become a star. Does this go anywhere? No. Is it interesting? No, I hate this character design so fucking much. The OG actually had a design for Harriet Tubman and instead went with this abortion of all that is good. Do I like any of the episodes from the reboot besides the Mr. B episode? I did like the sleepover one. It was a simple premise and took a few chaotic turns. Most of the jokes were funny. I also did really like the keyboard warrior sequence where Columbus and Confucius are debating online, which is really just the two insulting each other. But yeah, that's it. So that's 2 out of 10 episodes that I liked, which is very convenient because I would give this reboot a 2 out of 10.